Max Verstappen, you are a race winner. What a debut, fantastic.
Thank you very much, Christian.
What a drive, what a mega star we've got on our hands with Lewis Hamilton. Faultless, brilliant performance.
Lando Norris wins for the first time in Formula One. Pierre Gasly wins. Oh my, is that just wonderful? Take a bow, George Russell.
I remember exactly the day when I found out I made it to Formula One. It was in Sochi 2018. It was Sunday morning.
I was racing Formula 2 Monza. I think we just had a good race with George.
When Lagru, who's the Mercedes manager, called me and said, Claire Williams wants to speak with you. I think it's good news.
I can't even remember, to be honest, whether Zach told me or I think my manager told me.
Let's speak to Formula One's Lando Norris. How does that sound, my friend?
Yeah, I guess it's always good news and it's an exciting moment because it's a big step forward in my career. So I look forward to it.
I think the fact that I will get into Formula One was a little bit more progressive, so I saw it coming gradually.
You're going to be a Sauber Formula One driver. Has that sunk in yet?
Not yet. I think I'll probably realize once I'm in the car for the first race. I mean, it's a dream since child, and to realize it feels amazing.
Sir Frank Williams told me in person. That was 2009, and I was, at the time in the factory, around the factory, and I got called up to his office.
I actually remember very, very well the day I learned I was going to become a Ferrari driver.
Went up there quite nervous, wasn't sure what's about to happen or what he wanted to tell me, but turned out it was quite positive where he gave me the news.
It was Maurizio Arrivabene who called me, who made me think that I was not taken for Ferrari for the first 30 seconds of the call, which I was disappointed, but also it was my second year in F1, so I was like, okay, makes sense. And then he announced me that I was taken. And this I remember very well. I jumped in the water, I was with all my friends.
So it was my manager, and he called me at the time saying that I had to go and do a sit fit at Manor Racing at the time in Banbury.
I don't remember, honestly. I mean, it was not that clear as it is now, and I made my debut with Minardi, but the team was not 100% sure that they will make it into Australia for the first race. We didn't have any winter testing or any simulators didn't exist, so it was not that straightforward.
Still remember it like if it was yesterday, and on that day we went for dinner, and I saw myself on the news, so it was quite weird. I remember seeing my name pop up in my interview of some other races. I think the next day then I was in Banbury.
I was there to sign the contract. It was in Austria, so we were on the way back, and we drove back, I think, actually.
I can't believe it, really. So I think the first time when I get in the car, then you really feel like, all right, this is it.
Well, it seems like an easy question to answer. Not that easy to answer for me.
Of course, I was happy at the time, but at the time also you are ready in your mind just preparing for the season ahead. So, of course, I was happy, but I also knew that was only the start, right? At the beginning, there's a lot that then had to go well.
My dad and I went to Ron Dennis's house, and it's Ron Dennis and Martin Whitmarsh sat in the living room, and they told me that I had to drive.
I signed my first contract to be an F1 driver in a parking lot in the services in the UK. And that was it. Signed it in the backseat of their car in the middle of nowhere.
So at the time I flew to Sepang in Malaysia. I received a call from Helmut, so I was there as a reserve driver for Red Bull and Toro Rosso. So he called me and basically said, okay, you have 3 days to get ready because you're driving your first F1 Grand Prix this weekend. I was buzzing and very, very excited.
I was at the Abu Dhabi post-season test to test the Red Bull car. My dad was waiting for me in the hotel and I said, come up to my room that I need to tell you something important. And I was like worried because at the time we didn't know if F1 was gonna happen. A lot of tension, a lot of nerves. He opened the door and said, you're a Formula 1 driver next year. Gave me a hug and we celebrated.
I just came back from Spa. I got a call from Toto, and there was also James Allison, Bono. Toto went pretty straightforward to the point at the start of the call, and it was an incredible moment to share, mainly because also I was with my family.
I was at my manager's house. It was the Wednesday of Silverstone, and that was where I finally signed the contract. and also I got a call from my Ferrari boss, Marco, and it was just a great day for me.
I know I was in Milton Keynes and Helmut called me and said, you need to come to Italy to sign something. Obviously I understood, and yeah, that was it. Yeah.
I received from my manager a message saying you're gonna be announced this day. You know, it wasn't a straight call, let's say you're gonna be in the grid, but was something a bit like this. I was a bit, no, this is not actually happening, you know. I couldn't believe it. And then, you know, after it did, so super happy.
Who was the first person that you told?
Wow. I think it would have been, I can't remember which order I did it in, but my mum and my dad.
My family, so my mum, my brothers were the first persons to know after my friends, because they were actually with me at that time.
My father and my mother, my girlfriend, and that's it. That was, I think I made probably a big phone call, you know, with everyone.
I told my mother, the first one, because we had to go together to buy a suitcase.
My mom knew before me actually, so I obviously called my mom first.
Oh, I called my parents, of course, straight away and broke the news.
Probably my best friend Jan.
Called straight away back home to tell my family, and quite early in the morning for them. I just completely forgot the time difference. Yeah, it was a pretty special moment.
Straight away went back to my parents and told them, and sort of there was a tear in all of our eyes, to be honest, because it wasn't guaranteed that I had a chance in Formula One, even though I was leading the F2 championship, but it felt so special, and won the race that evening. I actually flew home with Toto and Lewis that night. I actually double dipped the hummus, which Lewis wasn't very happy about, so that was quite a good, quite a funny story from the flight. He was like, man, what are you doing, double dipping? I hadn't even heard of double dipping by that point.
Can you remember how long you had to wait after receiving the news, signing the contract and being able to tell people?
I don't really remember, to be honest, when it came out or how long that I had to wait. But for me, that also didn't matter. I mean, I was just happy that I signed the contract, and for me, in my mind, I was just already, you know, preparing for the year ahead.
Publicly, maybe a month.
I had to wait a good month because I got the news on the first few days of August. Yeah, it was pretty hard, but yeah, it was not too bad at the same time.
I told my close family and friends straight away, but it was announced only one day later.
I had to wait probably around a week, which is a bit annoying because that's the kind of news you just want to tell all your closest friends and people as soon as possible. I'm not gonna lie, I did tell some of my closest friends immediately.
I think a month probably, to be public, fully public. 3 weeks, a month.
About a month, then it was pretty public at that point.
There was no real history with me and Williams prior to that moment. I spent a lot of time throughout 2018 with Force India, and that seemed like the natural progression that I was going to step into, and then suddenly Lance moved over to Force India, and then the seat came up at Williams, and it was all last minute. It happened really quick.
It had been a really long history prior to signing with Haas. It started in 2023 in Qatar, where I did the seat fit for my first free practice with them, which was in Mexico a few months later. Then last year, I did 6 free practice ones with them. Actually, it was even more because I ended up doing 2 races with them as well in Baku in Brazil.
We spoke a bit even when I was in go-karting, but we never really got to an agreement. I was in F3. In one weekend, he had 3 races, so I won 6 races in a row. And then Helmut called my dad very early in the morning, and he said, yeah, let's have a meeting, let's have a conversation. And basically that's where it then all kick-started. From there onwards, basically the relationship only got stronger.
Well, I've been in the Mercedes Junior program since 2018. So I was 11 years old when I first got in. Super happy to be racing for Mercedes this year. I feel like they're a second family to me.
I did a test with Minardi, thanks of being champion in Formula Nissan. The prize was just having a test with a Formula 1 team, and then in 2001 I made my debut.
I didn't have any history. The link was obviously Mercedes at the time, but no, it was the first time that I went there.
I did my debut in F1 with the team in 23 in Mexico, and then I was promoted reserve for the second half of the 24 season, so I got to be at all the races, starting to introduce myself to the team, you know, like being more involved. It makes it easier.
So I was a Red Bull junior for 5 years, from 2010 to 2014. I knew I had to win 2014 World Series by Renault to make it to Formula One. I won it, but even if I won, there wasn't a space for me in Formula One. Things had to happen in order for me to get there, but it ended up happening. So
I did my first F1 test in 2015, so that was my first, let's say, flirt with Formula One. Then after winning GP2, which is Formula 2 now, things were looking good for 2018, but finally it happened 5 races before the end of the 2017 season. So it was an early taste, but very nice one.
I was Williams test driver in 2008, 2009, so that was my best shot and first opportunity. I was reserve driver, tested a lot of F1 cars towards 2014-15. I was waiting, for my time to come, not losing any hope, keeping the motivation high and trying to show everyone how hungry I was. It seems like a long time ago, but for me it feels like yesterday. Time flies in Formula One, but I'm still like a kid when I jump in these cars, and every time, it's the same smile that I get when I go full throttle.
There's definitely a sense of relief when you make it.
In his rookie season, Oscar Piastri wins the sprint.
It's a sense of relief, but a sense of kind of starting again, because you do all the hard work in the junior categories to get there, and then you feel like you're starting from pretty much zero again. So relief, but then some nervousness and excitement.
I don't remember it being a relief, no, because I knew I was going to make it. I think it was just happiness. All the grafting, all the tears and the dark days and the good days and bullying and all those sorts of things, and all the people that said that I wouldn't make it, and there I was.
Who would have thought I would be ranked number 2 in my first year of Formula One?
Getting to Formula One is one thing, but then actually being successful in Formula One, that's another thing. And that was always the goal, to get to Formula One, but also achieve something, not just to drive around.
Max Verstappen, you are a race winner. Fantastic. What a debut. Fantastic. Great job.
Thank you very much, Christian.
Bit of relief. Hopefully just happy.
It did feel like a relief. For sure, because it's a dream that I had since being a child, and I believed in myself, but I also knew that a huge amount of luck is needed to get to that level and to be in the situation to show your talent.
It was a really nice moment to finally get announced, and it was also a big relief because now people knew, and then but once the news was finally out, it was also a nice moment to share with them as well.
no, it was not a relief. It was just day one of hopefully a career and a journey. So a happy day, but it was like the start of the journey.
It was pure excitement when we signed the contract. It wasn't relief because I felt so young, and I always believed in myself that I would get to Formula One, but it was just so much excitement. Like, here we go, Formula One, time to do it.
It was definitely a relief, but I knew it was on the way. I was just very emotional and very happy because it's the culmination of all my hard work over these years.
Yeah, relief is the right word, because for me at least, my journey to F1 was nearly 12-13 years. So it's somehow like all the pressure, hard work, all the doubts during this period is gone, because the target was to get to F1.
I really thought I wouldn't make it at one point, and I felt like I had been fighting for it for so many years that when they announced me, it was more of a relief than an emotion.
No, it was just pure happiness, excitement. It was obviously, you achieved that goal, that you've been working for, and the reality is when you enter F1, the real work starts, and it's very competitive. You have to grind hard. You're only ever as good as your last race. So I think I kind of sensed that, but obviously in that moment it was just, exciting enthusiasm and happiness.
When did it feel real to you?
I guess when I signed the contract. I think I was still young. Now, being in Formula One for a bit longer, you see that sometimes contracts are signed, but that doesn't necessarily mean you are going to do your debut. So I will be a bit more skeptical with hindsight. But at the time when I signed the contract, I was like, okay, now nobody's taking that contract away from me.
I felt real maybe after 2 seasons, because the first season, yes, it was happening, but the team had some difficulties economically to go to race. And my second year in Formula One, I was a test driver. Until my first year in Renault in 2003 was not really the feeling for me that it was just for real.
I think on the grid for the first time in Australia.
Time it felt real was when I sat on the grid, the first Grand Prix. I knew at that point they weren't going to change their mind because the car was started and the lights were about to come on.
Definitely the most help that I've had to achieve my dream and goals has been from my dad, from his experience in F1 himself, but then also coaching me from when I was a little kid, since I was 4 years old, through all the go-karting ranks. I picked up a lot, I learned a lot, so for sure without him I wouldn't be standing here today.
The person or people that have helped me the most are my family. My dad going to all the races, my mum supporting me and supporting my sisters and giving me the free time to go racing.
Definitely my father, probably not on the actual deal in F1 because unfortunately I lost him before that. So definitely on the way up he was always by my side and gave me the advices that helped me to secure that F1 deal later on. So him.
My dad, my mom.
Well, I would say my family first of all, because they've given me the opportunity when I was little, and then they've always been there during my whole journey. Mercedes, of course, because they've been really helpful and supportive from 2018 all the way to these moments.
Obviously, my family is number one since my first go-kart day to every single season. It was mainly like a family sort of like sacrifices every year to allow me to pursue my dreams. But then after along the way, like all my, you can't call them like team principal, but all the teams that gave me the opportunity to race for like cheap budgets, for example, like people giving me tires there and there. I had small shops in my city which at the time were giving me like 500 euros there, 200 euros there, 1,000 euros there. Supporting me to get to Formula
1. My dad is the main powerhouse behind me getting where I am today, but also my stepmother. She was a massive part of the journey, both of them putting all of their savings into my racing.
I think the three most influential people, or four, I mean, the more I think about it, the more there is, but top three, number one is my father, number two is my manager, and number three is my coach, Enzo.
Many people along the way, obviously first and foremost my parents, my family that were pushing, the early career in go-karting. Without their support, obviously, you're not going anywhere. But then along the way, there was many people, who contributed, who helped.
I think three people in karting: Denis Marco, which helped me to make the step into single-seaters. And then in single-seaters, it was Flavio Briatore and Giancarlo Minardi to give me the opportunity.
I think the person that's always been around me, my family, Gwen obviously as well. He was the person that helped me a lot. But Toto, Fred, René Rosine from Prema, and I keep, as much as I can, a close relationship with everybody that has helped me over the years. It's very important for me to know where you come from.
100% my family, more important my dad, but my whole family, just without them, the support, it's impossible to make it without having the right people around you, guiding you. Yeah, I probably owe everything to them.
Definitely my family, 100%. They have been the supporters since the beginning. So, and obviously there have been a lot of people, but if I mention one, I want to mention everyone.
My parents, by far. They've been supporting my crazy goal and life since the very beginning. So yeah, my parents.
Without doubt, my parents have given me the most help to get to Formula 1. I think it's something you don't appreciate when you're younger and when you're a kid, but it's only now when you're a bit older and you recognize how much your parents shape you.
What has kept me driven towards all this journey is the fact that I've worked so hard to come where I am now, and I want that to be, worth it.
Ocon wins the Hungarian Grand Prix!
I think wanting to become a professional racing driver is what kept me driven, trying to get to the top of the sport, trying to race against the best people and trying to prove I'm the best.
Winning. Yeah, I mean, winning is the best thing that can happen in Formula 1, and it's also the most enjoyable thing that can happen in Formula 1. So that for sure drives you, for more. You want more, and you want to try and do it as long as you can.
Get me driven is just chasing your dream. It's achieving the impossible, achieving something that no one had ever done before, going to a place where no one looks like you. All the other karting dads and all the other karting young kids that would say that I wasn't good enough or I wasn't talented or I would never make it, I would never amount to anything in my life. Or teachers that told me that, just put in your fuel cell and you just power forwards.
I've got a very clear mind, so I know exactly what I want to achieve in my life, which is to be world champion in Formula One.
I enjoy what I do, and I want to win a championship.
I want to fulfill my dreams, which haven't been fulfilled yet. And until that these dreams are not fulfilled, I will keep going.
There is no compromise to be made. It's all towards that goal.
There's nothing worse than telling your kids, you have regret or you could have done things different. So I don't want any of that to come.
I love driving cars and I've been around for so many years. It keeps me fresh, motivated, happy. So why stopping?
I think the potential of what I can achieve with Haas and what we can do together.
Like telling myself that I'm good at something and being able to compare myself to the very highest level. That's what drives me.
I think just the passion for Formula One, for driving the fastest cars in the world. I love to be in the competition. Feels good when you kick ass.
What's kept me driven is the search to be a world champion one day. Nothing else makes sense, so yeah.
What's kept me driven on my journey is that need to win. That feeling when you cross the line in first place. I've won a few races, but now I want to fight for a world championship and I want to win a world championship. So that's what drives me every single day.